We're coming into the last week of April. Progress for spring barley drilling has been really pretty good for the central and southern regions of Scotland. Most people have got their crops in and the barley is starting to emerge now, but I don't think it's been the same right across the country, has it, Neil?
No, in the colder parts further north and central and Lanarkshire and Ayrshire were behind.
Yeah.
We'd expect to be this time of year. It's just been too wet, it's been too cold to work up the ground and get the spring barley in.
And I think the reports coming out of offices up in Orkney and Banff, similarly they're 2 to 3 weeks behind where they were last year with spring barley drilling. The weather at the moment, we've seen quite fluctuations in temperature, aren't we? A few frosts, you were saying.
They had I went through -3 this morning going through Lanarkshire, so it's still cold. Okay, it gets up to 14, 15, but that wind's still cold, so it's holding things back to a certain extent, but you can see, and you'll see for this winter barley crop behind us, it's starting to take off a bit now.
And the winter sowing crops really vary quite a lot depending on drilling date. Obviously we had a fairly open autumn last year and a lot of barley and wheat went in September. And if we talk about winter barley first, we were surprised at how forward some of these earlier barleys are, and this one we're seeing the flag leaf popping out already, which for end sort of third week of April is pretty early, isn't it?
It is very early. I mean, we're only supposed to hit growth stage 30-31 at the start of April, so you would think you've got at least another 2-3 weeks before you get into a T2 spray.
Yeah, so T1s would have been on. What are our sort of thoughts with T2 coming up? And I suppose we're looking at sort of early autumn emergence for T2 sprays.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. T2, you start thinking about, do you still have disease in it from earlier on? So you're looking for mildews, rhynchosporium from early on. But this is the spray timing where we're trying to protect the crop from ramularia. So if you're in a site and you've got a history of ramularia and it's been quite wet, usually a bit of warmth helps the fungus as well. But if it's been quite wet, you're probably more at high risk. So you might want to think about something that's going to be effective against that. So you're looking at your options are, really there's the azole, methane, trifluconazole, which is in Myrisa. Other option, if you think you're at big high risk, is the Neil product, which is the most effective thing we have against ramularia at the moment. And you can put your fulpit in as well to give you some control too.
Fulpit's very useful as a multi-site both in barley and wheat, but it really shouldn't replace any of the key triazoles or SDHIs.
We use it because it has some activity against the major diseases, but it's also an insurance policy. It's part of the anti-resistance strategy. You're trying to protect these single site fungicides which are more at risk of resistance by putting the fulpit in with the wheat and the barley. And
with regard to ramularia, what are the sort of predisposing factors for that coming in, and when does it tend to start showing itself in the season?
We would expect to see it, unless the crop's stressed early on, we would expect to see it after flowering in the crop. So from growth stage 70 onwards, we start looking for it. You'll see it at the top of the canopy, top of the crop. As I said before, the conditions that seem to correlate with the disease coming in is wet conditions, warm conditions during the crop. There's a lot of work going into develop a risk forecast, but we're still not there in terms of a robust forecast to give to growers.
Yeah. Noticeable absence of BYDV this year, I think, compared to last year?
There's been the odd examples, so the odd cases come in. I think we saw one from Stirlingshire fairly recently that did come in. I think it just depends. It was quite warm in the back end, so the aphid still would have been about. It has been a colder winter compared to previous year, so you would hope that would have done the business and stopped them.
And not so much pressure from rhynchosporium?
No, surprisingly, we thought we might have seen some more. It is a cold, wet disease, but it's maybe just been a bit too cold.
Yeah.
As you said before, we're seeing a lot of differences in terms of where the rainfall's coming. So there's certainly in the west part and obviously the northeast there was an awful lot of rain. So that will have helped it. It goes into the same we're looking for some of the other diseases like leaf spot and oilseed rape. Those levels are down as well.
Okay.
I mean it's quite closely related to the rhynchosporium in terms of its biology and its genetics, but we're not seeing an awful lot of light leaf spot this year either.
Yeah. In terms of winter wheat, there's quite a lot of variation in the growth stages depending really on when drilling occurred in the autumn. The most forward crops we're seeing leaf 3 starting to poke out. So a lot of people would have done a T0 if they were under pressure from yellow rust, What we're now looking forward to is T1, looking to protect leaf 3 and 4.
That's right.
What are your feelings around this sort of the presence possibly of yellow rust continuing and protecting other things like septoria?
I think if you haven't got a T-knot on and you're seeing yellow rust, you definitely need to think about your strobe, something like Comet, to check that yellow rust. What we don't want is a situation like last year where YR15 resistance came in and we couldn't check it. So get on it early if you can. The other diseases we're really looking for is the septoria. So again, walk your crop, see if the septoria, we're seeing it in some of the lower leaves. For a bit more rainfall, it'll start to move up. And it's another pathogen that needs some warm weather. So if it turns warm and wet, colleagues in England are saying they're seeing a lot of it this year. They are slightly warmer than us. So you'll be looking for a spray, something that's going to check the septoria. So you're thinking out an SDHI azole mix, something that's quite effective. Remember with wheat, the T2 is the one that's going to give you your biggest yield response. So you want to check the disease that's there, give you some protection before that T2 timing.
Yeah. And in terms of the actual timing for T1 in wheat, do we wait till the leaf 3 is fully emerged or partially emerged? Is there a sort of benchmark?
I think it would depend on the risk. If you're seeing a lot of disease there,
Get
you
in.
get it in as quick as you
Okay.
can. If you're comfortable, it's looking quite clean, you can maybe wait a little longer. And as you say,
Yeah.
get a full dose applied to that leaf as it's fully
Yeah.
emerged. But it's on a case-by-case basis.
But we were talking earlier saying, actually, given the weather, how surprised we are, these crops are moving through the growth stages pretty quickly for the time of year, aren't they?
It is surprising, and again, they were standing in this nice sunny field and it's going to get into double digits, the temperature today, and that will really start to send the crops growing.
Yeah, yeah. Winter oats, I think really the main risk probably there is potentially mildew, not so much crown rust.
It's mildew up in Scotland.
Yeah.
They're all quite susceptible, so you'll be looking at a spray that's going to take
Yeah.
care of your mildew vein.
And I think, good nutrition and manganese in oats helps to sort of allay some of the mildew pressures. Oilseed rape's another crop that's really doing well. Looks like it's going to have potentially another extended flowering period. It's been quite dry. We're not quite at early petalful yet, but we might be thinking about sclerotinia. I presume, the soils are probably damp, they're not overly warm, and it's not very humid, so I presume the risk might be lower than one might think.
You would hope it would be quite low this year, but again, you just don't know.
Yeah.
There's certainly walking your crops and looking to see what's there.
Yeah, and especially if you've got a history of sclerotinia or you've got other carrier crops in rotation like potatoes, peas, beans,
absolutely.
It adds to the pressure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. That's all we have for you this month. We'll look forward to speaking to you again in May.